Welcome back to Africa This Morning. We are now on Table Talk, and today we're going to table a conversation around technology. And joining me to share her story in her passion in technology is Mugethi Gitau. Thank you so much for joining us. You're the Corporate Community Engagement Manager. Corporate Engagement Manager? Community Engagement Manager at the iHub. Thank you so much for joining us. There's a lot that entails. Maybe you can break it down for us, what it means, even after you have given us a brief history of your passion in technology and how you got yourself at the iHub engaging the community.
Okay. So my story is rather interesting. I took the scenic route to the iHub. Studied information sciences, majored in ICT, did quite a few things before I ended up at the iHub. So I taught computer and business, did a bit of non-profit work, and then a position came up at the iHub, and someone I knew who worked there asked me if I would want to take it up. But I must say it's been quite rewarding. I enjoy technology because it's a platform where young people can actually be independent. It's quite empowering. It's all about what you can do, and you can take it all the way. It's all about not asking for donor funding, and it's about you are able to engage people.
You can crowdsource without having to engage and break your back financially.
Yes, and if someone likes what you're doing, they can invest in it. So it's not about people wanting to help you. It's about you creating something that people want to get involved in.
Empowering yourself in a sense.
Yes.
You said the scenic route to the iHub.
Yes.
I would want to know the details of the scenic route because one, I would touch on the fact that you're a young lady in the tech world, and many have whispered and many have confirmed that the tech world is very it's a very tight world when it comes to women engagement. Maybe you can share that aspect as well. Okay,
yeah, I would say a big part of it is seeing other women making it in tech. Like, for example, I mentioned a friend of mine asked me if I would like to take up a role at the iHub. That's quite intimidating, especially, knowing that the iHub is very geek heavy, but my friend is a lady, so she actually made me think, oh, ladies work at the iHub as well.
Yeah.
Yes. So I taught high school for a while, which was actually quite good. Then when I decided I didn't want to be a teacher anymore, I took up a job mapping malaria with Kemri Welcome. I did some governance work, especially around the election times when we'd engage people. So for the first time when the new constitution was being launched and we had all these new positions. So we were engaging people who wanted to vie for different posts at a community level and just asking them like, hey, this is what you've done so far. What makes us sure that you will serve us? Or, it's also a chance for the candidates to say what they have achieved and how they plan to serve the populate. I did a bit of research. For the first time, there were going to be county governors, so trying to figure out what are the pain points in the counties and what governors should look out for. Then I freelanced for a whole year. I'm a designer, I'm a graphic designer, so I just freelanced for a year until the position at the iHub came up.
You've done a lot. That scenic route is quite thick. It's quite an orchard.
Yes.
And we're going to dig into some of the fruits of that orchard. Looking at the community engagement, maybe you can break that down to us. What exactly does community engagement entail at the iHub?
So maybe paint a bit of a picture. iHub is a community space. When I say community, I mean tech community. So that would be developers, designers, project managers who want to manage tech projects, information security professionals, and we provide a space where they can come and sit and work from. But it's a connecting space. So we say it's a nexus point for techies, investors. So you're an investor, you want to invest in a tech business. Come to iHub and figure out who you want to invest into, clients, government, if they want to engage with techies, tech corporates. So it's a place where everyone comes together.
Who's got a passion for technology?
Yes.
The platform that technology offers.
Exactly.
Community engagement, how does that?
So community engagement means a whole lot. For me, it's about connecting people. So for example, connecting techies with each other. You're working on a project, you don't have all the technical skill required, I'll connect you to someone who does what you need. We have people looking for talent out there, people looking for people to work on projects, I connect them. I connect investors to people who have startups or who have businesses that they can invest in. Yes, and starting conversations around what is currently happening, thought leading, like figuring out, okay, what should be happening, So we have a lot of forums and a lot of events that facilitate that. Also trying to figure out what are the gaps in our community. So, for example, is there a skill gap? We have a lot of, we notice that techies are great at tech, not so great at business. So bringing in workshops and trainings to sort of fill that gap.
When you're looking at the best platform and the most conspicuous platform when it comes to technology is social media. How is that serving in terms of community engagement within the city and also within the country?
So pretty well, actually. I think we are blessed to be in Kenya, which has about 95% mobile penetration. About more than 60% of those are smartphones. So we have more smartphones than not smartphones. We have a large community on social media, about 54,000 followers on Twitter. We have people on Facebook. We also have we have a community portal, so where we engage our online members. So we have about 15,000 online members. I would say social media is great because, first of all, it's instant. You can reach people who engage with you. You can engage people on an instantly. You can go back and forth, so they can ask you questions, you can answer. So we use our social media a lot. We use it to share African tech stories or African tech content. We use it to talk about the events that will happen at the iHub. We have a very active blog. Almost everyone at the iHub blog, so we use it to share content from our blog. And I would say it opens a whole new world. You don't need to know these people. You don't need to have met them to engage with them. And sometimes it leads to greater connections. Yeah.
There are several aspects that are arising when you're touching on social media, and one of them is policy, which we'll look at as we are having the conversation. But a major aspect when it comes to technology is innovation.
Yes.
And right now there are many people who are coming up with several, innovative ways to support the community. As you've touched on political aspects here of aspirants who are interested in vying, they would come and engage with you to just, give their perspective, their vision, put their manifesto right, connect it with technology.
Yes.
You're touching with mapping malaria, the powerful ways that technology can support. Share with us how you're engaging the youth to be part of the conversation of innovation and merging that with technology.
I would say there's no point of being in tech if you're not going to innovate. Technology is very dynamic, so you have to be on your toes. You have to figure out where it's going and ride with it, otherwise you end up becoming a dinosaur. Yeah, and the world leaves you behind. So we see a lot of that. Just in a couple of weeks' time, BBC is having a hackathon to just take their content to mobile, and this is because a lot of people are leaving the screen. They might not be listening to radio.
The information that they
yes,
want,
but they are on mobile. So how to figure out how does this population consume mobile, and how can they plug into that? Yeah, so innovation is also a way for a lot of young people to make money. So we've seen a lot of interesting innovations come out of the iHub, both software and hardware.
And what are the challenges we're facing as a country in terms of creating more space for innovation and technology, even as you've seen at the iHub?
I would say one of it is policy. Not to complain, our government is pretty cool. They let us do whatever we want. They don't watch us day and night on the internet and say, no, you can't do that, and no, you can't do that. So we are pretty much free to innovate, which is not the case in most African countries. However, for example, now we are venturing into hardware innovation. There's an innovation called the brick. I don't know if you've heard about it.
Yes, I did.
Yes.
It's supposed to help the weather patterns as well.
Yeah, so it's a rugged brick-shaped device that keeps you on the internet. And the problem is that it addresses is that in Africa, internet access is a problem because you have low signal. For example, if you're using 3G network, you don't have equal signal in different. So if you, for example, have a Safaricom modem and you drive out of the city and then you don't have a Safaricom signal, that means you might need to buy an Airtel and an Orange modem and a U modem to have signal.
Whichever fits is what you'll use here.
There's some places that have just one tree where people go to make phone calls. So the brick, first of all, allows you to access internet in different ways. So it has a SIM slot where you can put any SIM, even an international SIM. If you attach an antenna on it, it amplifies the signal. So if you have that tree that is the only spot where you can access the signal, you can put your brick there, switch it on, you can share internet with up to 20 devices. It also has its own power, and it keeps power for quite a long time. Minimum is 8 hours, but in my experience, up to 3 days. So the brick is designed in Kenya, but we have to produce it in Texas. Why? Because it's so expensive to import materials, to import components of telecommunications material in Kenya. It's actually cheap to import finished telecommunication gadgets, but quite expensive to import components. So that's something we are engaging the government about, so that we are able to do more hardware innovation and more hardware production in the country. Well, infrastructure, of course. I mean, it would be great if every county out there could easily access the internet. But I mean, we have the fiber optic cable.
The government right now is campaigning to have free Wi-Fi all over the country, according to the CS of Communication. Would that suffice? Yes,
I mean, that is it's a major step. It's just to be able to be in a city in the rural areas, a town in the rural areas, and go on Wi-Fi is major. We've seen from studies before that Kenyans are huge consumers of internet on mobile. So a lot of people are on Facebook, like most of our population is on Facebook. And again, looking at the average age of Africans is 18. So young people, they're on Facebook. If you start a business right now, it's not the same as before.
You just have a post office box. You have to have all the social media platforms engaged to your business.
Exactly. Yeah. And it opens up your customer base to just people who know you, to everyone on Facebook. You just need to take pictures, put it there, and get customers.
Share with us what agenda you have in the future, even as you're engaging the community, because now we have the challenges that are already on the table, and you've just indicated you're engaging the government to iron out some of the hurdles that you're facing as techies, so as to ensure that the country is not left behind, as you indicated, as dinosaurs were.
Yeah.
Share with us what are some of the campaigns you have, even as you're going into the future, to ensure, one, the youth are able to engage with technology and in an affordable manner, to ensure that innovation is also a campaign that the government is considerate of, and also our institutions of learning are opening up their thinking when it comes to education and technology and innovation.
So a couple of things. We have an outreach program where we go outside Nairobi. We talk to groups of techies, which normally means going to a university because that's where you find a large group of computer students in the same room. We tell them about the iHub, the opportunities that the iHub has brought about, and what we hope is that they will get organized as a community and agitate for their own hub. Happily, the government has funds, devolved funds for ICT. So what has happened is these communities have actually gotten together and started hubs. So now we have Swahili Box in Mombasa, we have the Lake Hub in Kisumu, and we have hubs coming up in Nyeri, in Nakuru, which is actually quite encouraging. We're also engaging the county governments in those counties. So sometimes it's just basic capacity building for the county government, but also telling them about the iHub, what we do, and how important it is to have such a facility in their own counties.
Okay, I'll have to cut you short at this point, but of course you've gotten an overview of what exactly you're doing to ensure that the country is actually opening its eyes when it comes to technology and innovation. And this is our first engagement. Of course, we'll be calling you again to discuss other aspects taking the lead in the technology front and also on social media. Thank you so much for joining us. It was a pleasure hosting you. I hope you've been sensitized on what capacity you can engage your county officials on when it comes to technology to source out support. If you're interested in techies wherever you are in the country, the government is campaigning for free Wi-Fi in the country. We'll be following up on that here on Ebru Africa. If not, on Table Talk. I hope you've been sensitized. From the team and myself, enjoy the rest of your viewing on Ebru Africa.